Hey folks, how you doing? Adrian Raso here. Today just trying to keep warm in this incredible environment, as you can see. One thing that's great about working for Guelph School of Guitar is they fly me to pretty exotic locations to bring you these really cool in-depth lessons that I'm really happy to share with you. So today we're in Snag, Yukon, and Snag, Yukon is kind of notable because not only do we want to make our lessons about guitar, but I also want to make it an educational kind of journey for us as well. And Snag, Yukon, as you can see, it's pretty beautiful, is notable because it's recorded the coldest temperature in Canadian history. It actually got down to minus 63 in 1947, and today it's not that cold. It's I think it's more like at minus 57, so I have to be quick so my hands don't freeze up. All right, so what we're going to talk about today are just open position chords. A lot of you know these. You can find some good sources for this kind of stuff on the net, but one thing that I thought I would do is put together a little summary to help you guys play through things and make sure everything's coming along and developing and staying tight to a click track. So let's start with just some simple things. We're going to start with a G chord to start out, and of course you can see these chord charts online. That's guelphschoolofguitar.com. We're starting with the G chord, and G chord is well, we should probably move on. We should do C, and we also have a D. These are the cowboy chords, all right? And you can play tens and tens of thousands of songs with just these three positions. So G, C, and D are the chords that we're talking about currently. With a G chord, nothing too fancy. You get your fingers down. One thing that's important as you're learning these things is to, when you're first practicing, is to try to lift your hand off, put it back on, make sure that all three fingers come down, in this case, at the same time. Some players at the beginning slide into a chord, and that's okay at the starting point, but your ideal thing is to try to see if you can get your fingers to come down all at once. Clarity to a chord is really, really vital. And what you want to do is you want to play the chord, make sure everything sounds nice. How do you do this? You test it. Every one of those notes has to sound good. If you're playing and all of a sudden you go, that's not good enough. You got to make sure every tone comes out and it sounds nice all the way through, okay? Little things like on a C chord, you don't play the low E string. You only pick from the 5th string down. So pay attention to those charts. Make sure that you're really looking and saying, okay, cool, I got to make sure that the pick is accurate as you do this. There's, of course, tricks. For example, a C chord, you could see I use my thumb a little bit on the top to mute out that note, in case I do strum it, right? But those things are not easy to practice. You don't go and lose sleep over them and go, geez, my muting really sucked today. You just don't do that. You work on it, you make sure that it's something that you can do, and then eventually those little funny things creep into your playing as you develop. With a D chord, we're going from here. It's going to be from the 4th string down, all right? So you make sure that you can, some people put the A note on top of that. I don't know. I always like just a nice clean D with a D root more than the bass. Okay? That's the other thing I should mention. Of course, a chord is defined by what the bass note is, right? So, when you're playing a G chord, okay, right away that low note that we're playing is the G, okay? When we do a C, it's the C, D, and so on and so forth. Next chord that we have is an E chord. So we got to know that one, all right? You have an A chord from the 5th string down. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Some players, again, you can use alternate fingerings on some of these chords. Some players use 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Myself, I use middle finger, 3rd, and 4th to execute that. Here's a really oversensitive E minor, all right, so that you can do this. Right, it's a little bit darker sounding chord. Some people say it's sad. I just think it's just beautiful. Okay, so E minor, you have A minor. Okay, you have an F chord. F is the one that usually people hate because you got a bar with your 1st finger across the B string and the high E string. So what you're doing for this one, we're just going to play the 4-string version of this. So it goes like this. And the last one, of course, is D minor. Okay, so with just those chords, that'll help you navigate yourself through the chord summary. And we're going to do an up-close version of that so you can check that out. And the thing that we want to pay attention to with this is just really keeping the time nice and consistent. Transitions have to be, super, super precise. So what you want to do is you want to do, if you're doing G, 2, 3, 4, C, right? The transition has to be nice. So you can practice that. On the track that I'm going to show you, it's at 60 BPM. On the site, you can practice along. There's a version at 60, 90, and of course 120 for you to practice. Currently, we're just working on a quarter note strum pattern, so it's going to be pretty basic this way. That's it. You just got to follow along, and of course follow along with the music on the site and make sure the transitions are good. Don't do the classic 1, 2, 3, 4 and then take a half hour to get to the next chord, right? That's not good enough. All right, so you got to make sure everything's really consistent this way. All right, so let's go to the quick little version here, and you're going to strum along with me, and we'll give this thing a shot. All right, goes like this. Okay folks, so that's kind of a little bit of a primer on just open position chords. We're going to be going into a whole bunch of different strumming patterns that we can use with this at the next lesson, all right, so that you can use that. So we'll use this as a skeleton to kind of move on and get good with these. But again, just stick with it, you know, don't be discouraged if you can't just move right through it. And for players that are good and can do these open position chords, practice it at faster tempos, but just make sure that it's tight. It's got to be right on, all right? So that's pretty well it for today. I'm going to get inside before I freeze. Thanks for watching the lesson and coming along to snag Yukon with me. And we'll see you next time from some new exotic location. All right, talk to you soon.